Hey everybody, welcome to Mama Nina Cooks. Today I'm going to make my famous chicken vegetable soup. We're going to start with a rotisserie chicken, and you're going to need a can of low sodium chicken broth and a little bit of chicken better than bouillon. So this is going to be a very easy, quick stock. So let's go to the stove. A little bit of oil on the bottom of your pan, not much. I'll let that heat up a little bit. And then we're going to put our rotisserie chicken right in there. I see some string in here. I'm going to cut that off. We're just going to brown him a little bit so we can use the juices from this, which is where all the flavor is. Let's trim this apart a little bit. This is already cooked, so we're just browning it to get those brown bits in the bottom. That's better. Our lights were off a few minutes ago. We just came back on, so I forgot to turn them on. Okay, see those brown bits? That's what we want. That's why we're doing this. It's probably good. Okay, now I'm just going to add a can of chicken broth, low sodium, and some hot water from the kettle. I'm probably going to get 2 dishes out of this stock and this chicken. So I'm going to go easy on the spices because I'm not sure yet what I want to do with this. Now, if you want, you can add at this point chopped up onion and celery and carrot and garlic. I do that sometimes, but we're going to do a quick one today. So we're going to leave that out. So it's already starting to boil. See? So we're going to cover this, turn it down, and we're going to let this simmer, but only for about 20 minutes because this is already cooked. And we're just trying to leach the flavor, the chicken flavor out of those bones. We don't want to overcook that chicken. Okay, so we'll let that sit for 20 minutes. And we can add our teaspoon of better than bouillon. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. Oh, look how rich that looks. Okay, let's take your chicken out. Makes the chicken more tender too. Make sure you get any bones, skin. I don't like any skin and bones and stuff in there. Okay, now we have our broth. Okay, let's go chop up our vegetables. Okay, so let's chop our vegetables up for our chicken vegetable soup now that our broth is done. So what we're going to use is, I usually just use whatever I have in my fridge, actually. Any vegetable I'm trying to get rid of. I always use onion, okay? And this time I'm using onion and let's see, broccoli, a potato, a yellow squash, a zucchini squash, whoops, and some cabbage. Okay. Now I don't usually peel my vegetables. Sometimes I do, depends on what it is. I just wash them real good. It's just extra fiber if you use the peel, but that's up to you. Also, we're going to use a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. Now, tomatoes is one thing that I will pay attention to the brand. Sometimes it doesn't matter, but with tomatoes it does. So I always use something like Hunt's or Cento or San Marzano tomatoes. These are diced. We also have about a half a cup of pinto beans. These are canned pinto beans, so they're already cooked. I've got about a tablespoon here of chili and adobo sauce. Sorry, I meant to have that can up there. So it's chili, peppers, and adobo sauce. I just use about a tablespoon of the sauce. This is very, very spicy. So you put in as much or as little as you want, or just leave it out if you don't like spice. If I'm really wanting spice, I'll take one of these peppers out of here and chop it up and put it in the soup too. And I have about a tablespoon of tomato paste. And then for spices, we're going to use pepper, of course, fresh ground pepper. I've got a teaspoon of granulated garlic, a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of thyme, and a teaspoon of coriander. I really like coriander. A teaspoon of turmeric, and a tablespoon of Mexican oregano. I really like the flavor of Mexican oregano. So we're going to put all this in the pot once we get all the vegetables chopped up. So let's start there. Okay, we're going to put some glasses on so we don't hurt ourselves. Oh, we're also going to need some fresh Italian parsley. We'll chop that up and put that in at the end. And some fresh garlic. We'll put that in at the end too. Maybe a little bit in the beginning and more at the end. I love garlic. Garlic fiend. All right, so we're going to use the onion first. Saute this a little bit in the beginning. So we'll put this in a separate bowl from our other vegetables. I like to leave the root on. Keeps it together when you're chopping it. We're just going to not dice, but just kind of chop. When you leave the root intact, it kind of does the separating for you. This is just a yellow onion. Okay, I'll put those aside. All right, so we're going to let's chop up our cabbage next. Okay, now cabbage has a big core in the center. And you always want to take out the outer leaves too. Ooh, these onions are making me cry. Let's put some paper towel over the top of them. They're sending off their onion gases and making me cry. All right. So take the outer leaves off. Maybe one more. Then we're just going to cut this in half. See that core? We're just going to cut that core out. That's really tough, that core. Ta-da! Okay. So then we're just going to just chop this. Doesn't have to be uniform or neat or anything. Just kind of chop it up. You guys are going to love this soup. It's so good. All my family goes crazy over it. Except my son. Whenever I make soup, he says, "Mom, soup's not food. Soup's what they give you before you eat food." I love soup. Mainly because it's healthy. I'll have my vegetables just sitting in the fridge waiting on me, you know. Whenever I'm getting hungry, I can just go in there and grab a little bit of it, and I know it's healthy. Okay, so the broccoli, I'm just gonna cut it up in just like that, like big bite-sized pieces, not too little. And when you cut broccoli, you're gonna cut from the stem, okay? Okay, let's do our potato. Little bite-sized pieces of potato, and again, I didn't peel this. I did wash it. I hardly ever peel potatoes. Even when I make mashed potatoes, I don't peel them. All right, so our vegetable bowl is growing. Okay, yellow squash. I'm just going to cut off the ends. Oops, sorry. Cut it right down the center. Center again. And then we'll just cut those up. Didn't peel these either. Just washed them. Love yellow squash. It's like some people call it summer squash. Those pieces were a little big, so I chopped them again in half. Just whatever you like. I kind of like to keep everything almost the same size, just so it cooks evenly. I try to do that whenever I'm cooking. And of course, some things cook quicker than others, like this cabbage is going to cook slower than the squash. But when you're making a big soup like this, it's kind of forgiving. But if I was serving these outside of the soup, I would be adjusting because some of them take longer. Okay, here's our zucchini. I'm going to cut this again because that's a big piece there. Okay, chop our zucchini up. I can smell that garlic. Yeah. Love garlic. If you don't like it, just leave it out. You can add to this, subtract. Like I said, I usually just put what I have in the fridge. Okay, and then broccoli. Where'd our broccoli go? Ah! See. Already did the broccoli. Shh, don't tell anybody I did that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up the parsley. Even though we're not adding it till later, I'm going to do it now. And I like the flat leaf Italian parsley instead of the curly parsley, the curly type parsley. But if they have that, use that. That's all. If that's all they have, I like this. I also like cilantro. Okay. I'll go ahead and chop up our garlic too, so I can show you guys how to do that. This is a brand new bulb. I'm going to peel away some of the paper so I can get to the cloves. Nothing like fresh garlic. And it is not difficult at all. There's a little trick to it, I'll show you, but not difficult. Okay, so we're going to peel off some cloves. I'm going to start with about 3. Now later on at the end, when I put the parsley in, I'm going to crush some garlic in with it. But when I'm doing the onions, I'm going to add some of this garlic in the beginning. So we're just going to crush these with the flat part of our knife. I'm going to have to get some elbow grease into this. And that helps remove the skin on the outside. See how it just peels off? Just take your knife and cut off the end, the very tips, and the rest just peels right off. See that? So easy. You don't need a vegetable peeler and all that fancy stuff. Just need a knife. Need to just crush it a little bit. Falls right out. I make the best garlic bread. Oh my gosh. I'll have to make that for you guys. Now that I'm back, I've been gone for a long time. We'll talk about it. Life. But thanks for being here. It feels good. This is kind of fun. I love to cook. Meditative for me. So I thought, well, there might be some people out there that might want to learn some of the things that I know about cooking. So we'll try it. All right, so there's my garlic. All right, so let's go over to the stove. I forgot an ingredient. These are frozen mixed vegetables. Okay, this is a 1-pound bag. So you'll need that and put that in with our vegetables. Okay guys, I've emptied the broth out. Okay, we're gonna add just a little bit of oil in the bottom. I like to use olive oil. This is an onion that we diced. Not too small though. I don't know if you call that a dice. Chopped. Okay. Your hands are your best tools in the kitchen. You just got to keep them clean. Alrighty, I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this. Maybe a little pepper. Those are looking pretty good. Now I'm going to add the garlic. And also in the center, I'm going to add my tomato paste. Because we want that to cook out a little bit. Okay. So it doesn't have that canned flavor in there. Tomato paste is going to add a little thickness and a little tomato richness. Tomatoes. I'm going to add my broth. Look how rich this broth is. Just from that rotisserie chicken in about 20 minutes. Okay. Now we're going to add our spices. So this is our thyme, coriander, onion powder. Oh, this is 1 teaspoon. Garlic powder, 1 teaspoon. Turmeric, 1 teaspoon. Mexican oregano. Now I'm going to like mash this up with my hands to break it up a little bit as it goes in. Okay. That smells so good already. Okay, so we're building our flavors. Black pepper. I'm not going to put any salt in here until later after I taste it and see how it's doing. Chipotle and adobo. That adds such a great flavor, you guys. It's kind of like a secret ingredient. Okay, then we're going to add our vegetables, our chopped up vegetables. A whole big bowl full. Cabbage, zucchini, potatoes, yellow squash. So good. Just add it all in there. It's a lot, I know. It'll cook down. Broccoli. Okay, we're going to add some water to this. Some water from our kettle. If you add hot water into your dishes while you're cooking, it just makes them come to a boil all that much quicker for you. Okay. It's going to be so good and healthy. We add our beans. It's about a half a cup of pinto beans. So it was really hard for me to get the ingredients exact on here because I usually just throw it all in here. So what I'm saying is you guys can add other things or take out what you don't like or add a little bit more of this after you taste it, and or a little bit less of that. Just make it your own. This is just how I like it. Okay, and I'm going to add my mixed veggies, and I think I'm just going to use half of this. I think my pot is going to be big enough with just half of that. Okay, all these vegetables are going to release all their water and make more broth. Okay. Let's put the lid on it. And let's let that come to a boil. And then we'll simmer it for about half an hour. We'll come back to it. Meanwhile, we can shred our chicken. Look how pretty the broth came out, guys. So pretty. So I'm going to save that and half the chicken for my chicken and dumplings recipe. You're going to love that recipe. It's like a 3-generation recipe in my family. So come back for that. And please be forgiving with the lighting and the angles and the microphones. I'll figure all that out as I go along. I just wanted to get started because I missed doing this. So yeah, please be nice and forgive me, but it's all going to get better. I love to cook. I think when you cook for somebody, it shows that you love them, especially when you make something that's homemade and healthy. Like today's recipe is really healthy. Anyway, so I'm going to get the chicken in the pot, and then we can see what that looks like. Because it's been cooking about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. This whole recipe only takes about an hour, and it's so good. You guys are going to love it. Okay, let's go look and see what it looks like when we put the chicken in. I'm also going to add a little bit of garlic. Okay, guys, let's see what this looks like. That looks pretty good. Okay, let's see what it tastes like. See if it needs any salt. Probably does. Yep, it needs some salt. A little bit. I'm going to put just probably a couple of tablespoons of elbow noodles in there, just for a little surprise. I don't really want a lot of noodles in there. I always put my noodles in at the end and then just turn it off and let them sit and cook. They'll cook. Okay, I'm going to put some crushed garlic in here. So I'm just going to put them in my garlic press here. You don't have to peel the garlic when you use a garlic press. You just put them in whole. Okay, so we're going to get our chicken in here. And if you guys are vegetarian, you can just leave the chicken out and just make vegetable broth. And the way you make vegetable broth is just with all these vegetables. You do the same thing as we did with the chicken. You're just going to get them in a little bit of oil and like saute them, and then add water and herbs and spices, and you'll have vegetable broth. And Better Than Bouillon also makes a vegetable broth. So I'm going to add some chopped up parsley now at the end for a little freshness and bright green. I love fresh parsley. A little bit more. There you have homemade chicken vegetable soup. Look at that. Yum. Okay, we'll let that sit for a minute and then we'll sit down and have a bite. It's time to taste the soup. Let's see. It looks so good. So many vegetables. Let's see. Kind of hot. Mmm. Mm. It's really good, you guys. It's a little spicy. I can taste that chipotle pepper and adobo sauce in there. It is a little spicy, but I like it. Just a little spice. Mm. It tastes very fresh and healthy. This is going to be so nice to have in my fridge when I'm trying to eat healthy and lose some weight. Mm. That squash, it's going to be filling too, because there's so many vegetables in here. Plus a little bit of beans and tiny bit of elbow macaroni, very tiny bit. Some potatoes. I think you guys are going to like this. So I'm going to make chicken and dumplings next, so be sure to come back if you liked this. And I wanted to tell you a quick funny story. Um, my funny stories are usually always about my son because he's just so hilarious and he always has been. But when he was about 5 or 6, we drove through a fast food restaurant and he ordered onion rings. And I was driving, I looked over and he had the onion rings on his wrists. And I said, "Wow, that's cool, Nick." And he said, "Mom, they should call these onion bracelets because they don't fit on your fingers." So cute. Okay, guys, I hope you had fun. Thanks for coming. And maybe cook for somebody you love this week and show them you love them. There's nothing like making something homemade for someone to show that you care. And if I can do it, you can do it for sure. Okay. All right. Bye. Thanks for coming. Bye. See you next time.